Hi everyone, welcome back to another MetaTrader programming lesson. If you remember last time we were doing our trailing stop EA and we'd basically finished the trailing stop for an N-bar trail, so 5-bar trail or whatever. So let's have a quick look at the code. You remember what we were then going to do this time was to add options of trailing on something like a moving average. So we set up a little string text to remind us what the options are, and we set up an input value here to set what our trailing type is going to be. And the code, if you remember, is just this modified trailing stop function, which does this, and it calls this function get trailing stop level. And get trailing stop level, we've now got a switch statement, which you remember, it depending on this value here, either go to this one, or this one. And this is the code here for the get N-bar trailing stop. Now what we need to do now, we put a little comment in to remind us, we need to write some code for doing the moving average trailing stop. Okay, so without further ado, let's get on with that. So first thing I'm going to do is basically copy this header here, because our get trailing stop level is going to look rather like that. Okay, so here I've got a little template here, get SMA trail stop level. So I've got the direction, whether it's long or short. Though in this case, it's not actually going to make any difference, because whereas for the trailing stop of like a 5-bar trail, depends whether you're long or short, is whether you're using the lows or highs. For moving average trailing stop, it's always going to be the same. So we're not actually going to use this. But anyway, it's there just for symmetry, really. Trail length, this is going to be the moving average length. The offset, in general, this is going to be 1, because we're going to be we run this on the first tick of the new bar, so you want to have this one off, so it's the last completed bar, and this is where we're going to return our stop loss when we've finished. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is calculate the moving average. Okay. Let's create a variable MA. Now there is a function in MetaTrader which is IMA. Now in general you can get access to all the indicator functions using various I codes. Like you can see here where I've typed IMA, there's various ones. There's moving average, MACD, and all sorts of things. So you can have I stochastics, I imagine. There it is. So it's I followed by whatever the indicator name might be, will give you access to all those. But anyway, it's IMA. And if I do that, this just conveniently prompts me. Now the symbol, if you put null for the symbol, it uses the current one. If you put naught for the time frame, it uses the current one. Now the period, we're going to use trail length. Okay. The moving average shift, we're not actually going to shift the moving hang on, let me think. Method apply price into, yeah, this is the shift in the, it's not the number of bars ago, it's the shift in the moving average. You don't want that. And then now moving average type, I can never remember what it is, so if you just click on IMA and then hit F1, this tells you the all the inputs. So enumber MA method, it's mode, that's it, mode SMA. So here, since this is the SMA thing, you want mode, oops, hit capitals, mode SMA. Applied price, we want to do this to these, go back to the I think applied price is going to be price close. We're going to do this moving average of the close, price close, and then our shift is going to be this is our offset there. Okay, so that is how we calculate the moving average that we want. Okay, and we put it in a variable called MA, and now basically our stop loss is going to be that thing. Now we may want to sort of shift it by a point or two like that. In fact, this is something I haven't actually added to the overall functionality yet, is in general you might want to shift your stop losses by a certain number of pips beyond the 5-bar trail or beyond the moving average. So what I'm going to do for now, I'm just going to put stop loss equals, in fact what I can do it like this. If the direction, we are going to use the direction after all, equals 1, then the stop loss is going to equal the moving average oops, moving average, which we just calculated, minus a point. Okay, so just one pipette beyond that. Else, I'm going to assume that if the direction's not 1, then it's going to, oh no, let's do it this way. If direction, so if you put direction 0, foolishly, then it won't actually work. So, dot equals MA. So if it's short, then you want it 1 pip above them. Okay. And then return true. So basically, this, I think, go back to the help. I think that the moving average function, if you go back, it always works. It's not like actually you can never not give you the moving average. So just checking this, null is current symbol and naught means current chart time frame. Okay, so null, naught, trail length. Right, okay, good. So that should be it. And so now what we can do here is return, and we can basically just copy this lot here. And right, you can probably see is that the only difference between the SMA version and the EMA version is this bit here. So what we can do is actually be sneaky and put here int MA type, okay, which is going to be a variable. And what I'll do is copy this, stick it in here, and then my MA type, I'll explain what I'm doing in a moment, like that. Okay, so what I've now got is I'm calling a function with these parameters, so direction, trail length, moving average type, offset, and stop loss. And the moving average type are now passing in here. So I've got mode SMA, which is going to be passed in if I want to do this as my SMA trailing stop. And if I want to do an EMA trailing stop, I'm going to do exactly the same. So just copy this. No, copy the wrong thing. Let's try that again. And this is going to be mode EMA. Now what you noticed is that since this now is doing not just SMAs, I was going to call it, I'll change the name slightly, just get MA trail stop, and then we can actually select which type of MA we're going to use. Okay, so that is more or less it. Let's compile that. It works okay, good. So let's try it out on something. Let's see what's moving. It's a bank holiday today, so nothing's moving. This gold's having a little pop up. Let's just stick there. It's not, doesn't actually look like it's going to move. Okay, right, let's try here on a 1 minute chart. More like something's more like to happen. Okay, so if we put on a long, just check this is a demo. Yep, okay, put it on a long there. So there we go. And this is a 50 period. I can't remember whether that's an SMA or an EMI. Let's just have a remind myself. I think it's this one, exponential. Okay, right. So let me get our trail, which is my trailing stop, EA. We drop it in. Now you see here, this is the that little string we had. So this just reminds us what the various values are. So trail type 1 is N bar trail. We want a 3 for an EMA trail, and this is a 50 if we're going to try and get it to match with that red line there. Okay, so hit OK, and what we should notice, because there's no stop at the moment, let's just flick over here, that when we actually get a tick or 2, it should kick in. There we go, and lo and behold, there's our stop, and it's 1 point below the, now it will be, because it's the new tick, it will be actually below this one. There's the last completed bar there, so well, that's trailing correctly. And there we go, so we'll get stopped out in a moment, probably. There, right, okay, so let's go back to the code and let's think about what we're going to do next. Right, I'm going to set you a little bit of homework. What I mentioned in this video was, in general, you might, rather than just having it 1 point below the moving average, have a certain number of points which you can input, and the same thing for here. This is very straightforward, this one. So think about how you're going to modify your code so you can make it, you know, however many points beyond the function you want. Okay, so that's your homework for next time. Okay, as always, if you have any questions or queries or comments or suggestions, then I'm very happy to hear from you. Okay, Thanks very much. Bye for now.